I hereby conclude, we in here. Let's get started. Should you bolt or should you cut? Without getting into all the ins and outs of it, not only does it depend on your goals, it depends on your starting point. If you're bone dry skinny and you don't have a large appetite, you're going to have to do things to cultivate your appetite, develop your appetite. So you're going to have to figure out how much you eat on a daily basis, right? So track what you eat for a week, and then for another week, average the numbers together. So add it all up for every day, divide by 7, and then the next week, use those numbers, see if you lose weight or gain weight, or if your weight stays the same. If your weight stays the same, then the next week, add a little bit to that. So we're talking about 50 grams of carbs, 100 grams of carbs, maybe even like 50, 100 calories gradually. So build up your ability to eat and consume more food so that you're able to start gaining some type of weight, so that when you train, you don't burn off everything. And that way you're able to actually gain some muscle mass as well. You're not going to do a dreamer's bulk when you just stuff your face. This if you don't have a big appetite. Some people are skinny because they don't, and stuff just because lifestyle, when they just don't get the chance to eat. That's a lot different. For you, you still want to take the same strategy, but you may be able to make larger jumps until you start gaining a certain amount of weight. In that case, you're not going to have to try to build yourself up to develop the ability to eat more. You're just going to have to be more mindful of taking time out of your day and getting into food when you can. I know Max Charles, he's not really a big eater, but he tries to get his calories in, at least in the past, using things such as like juice. Sometimes people keep the carb powders are even too much for a lot of people who don't have a naturally large appetite. So you're going to have to stimulate that appetite if you don't eat enough, or if you're somebody who's capable and just never does, you're going to have to be more mindful. So you take the average of what you eat every day, start there, and then you build up. I'm not a fan of using calculators on the internet because everyone's different. And we pretty much, if your weight is stable, that means most people's weight is stable. We eat the same thing every day, every week, without realizing it. We eat generally the same amount of calories without thinking about it. So that's why you need to actually track it so you see what you're generally eating, and then that'll give you your true maintenance, at least in my opinion. Now, you guys know Kool-Aid Fitness, as he's called here on the channel. He's one of those people who swears he eats so much. But one time, we went out to eat with this dude. He got like 4 chicken wings and was full, right? And this guy has no gains, right? We always tell him you got to eat more and whatnot. He never does. He's like, oh, I eat so much. But he gets full off like 4 chicken wings. So you know it's chicken wings. Not even like legitimate like wing dings, man. So he's not eating that much, period. And some people swear they eat so much. That's why starting out, you need to track. Now, if you're somebody who just has some extra body fat on them, a little reasonable amount. Now, I'm not talking about, well, some of y'all don't even know what reasonable is. I mean like healthy range, 14, 20%. If you could track that for a guy, probably be more like between like 21 and 30 for a woman. Don't quote me on those numbers. I'm not really familiar with the number for women. I know 13% for a woman is low. 13% for a guy is not. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so if you're starting out there though, you got a little bit of weight on you naturally walking around, and you're starting off training, then just train. Eat, train. A lot of times people recomposition, the weight falls off already. Like that's what happened to me when I started training. I lost a whole bunch of weight without even trying, just from the increased activity. And that's if you're not already an active person usually. But sometimes just the act of adding another activity in there, somebody's body responds. Some people's bodies respond magnificently. Now, if you're already training, a lot of these things change. Now, for the skinny people and all that stuff, we have those issues. That still applies. But if you're already somebody who's training and you're lifting, definitely, like I said, still do the whole tracking thing. And now, instead of increasing your calories, first, get them to where you see your intake's the same, follow that, see what happens, and then start gradually reducing your calories, even your carbohydrates. Think like this, you need fat. So don't just go say, oh, I'm gonna cut out, go on a low fat diet. You need it for hormonal function and all that. All right, so yeah, if you gotta eat fat. If you don't have any fat in your diet, it's not gonna be a good time. All right, so you need fat, period. But you could reduce the carbohydrates to a certain point. Don't do it all at once. Don't crash that. Walk yourself down. Because if you drop too low, you're going to crash. You're going to have nowhere else to go from. Your body's going to resist you. Different things your body's going to start doing to slow down your metabolic rate. You're neat, right? Non-exercise. Or what is the A for? I always forget the A for. But it's like non-exercise something thermogenesis. I forgot. But anyways, the stuff that you do that's not exercise, like see how I move around like this right now? I have a reputation of talking with my hands and being very wild with my gestures. If you see me towards the end of a cut, I'm a lot more docile. I sleep a lot more. I don't move as much like that. And I don't have as much tonality in my voice. That's because your body is cutting back on all those things to try to conserve energy. If you cut too fast, that's what's going to happen, and you're going to hit a stance, you're going to hit a plateau. You're going to have to go harder. So walk yourself down. You only want to reduce your calories, your carbohydrates low enough, well, just enough to lose like right 10% of your weight. And generally for most people, that's going to be roughly 2 pounds a week. Now, when you first start, that's 2 pounds of fat. When you first start, you might lose like 5-7 pounds the first week, or in the first 2 weeks lose like 10 pounds. But remember, some of that's water. You decrease your carbohydrates, you're going to lose water. As fats initially coming off and all that stuff, you're going to lose water. Of course, you have some waste that's built up in your system and that's a little bit nasty. You're going to force that through. So all those things are going to occur also. So keep that in mind. So should you bulk or should you cut? It's dependent on your goals and where you're at. If you want to be lean, obviously you're going to have to cut. If you're trying to build more muscle, you need to actually build muscle. So you're going to need to eat a little bit more. You're going to need to bulk. But dreamer's bulk is not the right way to go. And I'll tell you this because most people, once they get that fat on them, it's going to be hard to get it off of them. You're going to lose time building muscle. So you want to do you pretty much want to do just enough. And as you get more experience, you will need to up your weight a certain amount. But you always want to make sure you have abs. And if you're somebody who has abs even when they're dumb fat, then you know the markers on your body that marks you're getting too fat. Period. So make sure you attend to those things. Okay, so that's it. Should you bulk? Should you cut? Like I said, depends on your goals, depends on what you want to be like. If you're happy at your weight already and what you look like, you don't have to do a single thing. Period. A lot of this was a how-to, which you should do very basic. Of course, if you want anything more than this, I do offer some coaching. I will answer any questions for free anyways in the comment section and make videos about anything. This was just a, if anything wasn't clear, definitely let me know. This was just a very rough thing, like should I bulk, should I cut? And if so, how would you go about it in the most simple terms? That's all. So if you want anything more in depth, I'll cover one about cutting in depth. I'll make one about bulking in depth. This is a catch-all. Until then, how you gonna act?